And it's hard to stand still when you play BM because you have so much freedom to move around. Holla ballers! What's going on? It's Preacher. Welcome to the TDP. We're going to keep things relatively simple today. That's not me being sarky by any means. All I'm saying is we're going to play some BM Hunter. And the reason we're going to do that isn't because I find this spec trolly. It's not a spec for me, and you'll see why shortly. But I actually truly believe, I've been thinking about this a lot recently, for a lot of players, this is probably going to be a really useful spec to have in Battle for Azeroth. I genuinely mean that. Are we going to pull? Misdirect wearing off, dude. It's gone. There we go. And the reason for that is, with the threat changes and all that kind of stuff, there's going to be a far larger call for hunters in general and rogues coming into BFA. And you can leverage that to gain a lot of places in groups and whatnot. And the advantage that BM has is that it is really, really crazy simple to play. To the point where I think it's a little daft that this spec exists. But not every spec is for me. I'm not that moronic. I suppose some people would go, yeah, you are. No, not quite. So what is the basis of the BM spec? Well, some of you have probably seen when I first tried this. I also did something similar. I mean, it's not that different from Legion, really. It was kind of a derpy spec then. Let's interrupt that. Which I've got to come back to in a second, because it's pretty awesome. But they've got rid of, like, diabetes and stuff. You're still talented into it. But what you have now is this barbed shot. You can see it right here, and it gets 2 charges. And this will restore focus, right? But not only that, it gives you a buff, the Thrill of the Hunt buff. And you'll see if I fire it off, I'm going to get it. Yeah, you see it's Thrill of the Hunt. And this stacks. Look, every time I fire a barb shot, it stacks up. And it'll stack to 3. And increase my critical strike chance. A lot of people like crit. Crit's all good. And the main aim of BM, from what I can tell, and this is kind of what I've been told a few times now, is to keep Thrill of the Hunt at 3. That's kind of it. Anything beyond that is going to be pressing your cooldowns, like Bestial Wrath's going to increase your damage. Bestial Wrath's cooldown is similar to Legion, but it's affected now by Dire Beast instead. We're clearing all the trash, are we? And the boss. Okay, so we're going to fire Bestial Wrath. We're going to get in there. We're going to get a barb shot going to get those charges going. Another barb shot. And we're going to interrupt this guy. Bring her over. Now, what you saw there is exactly why I think this spec might be great for a lot of guys who are not just struggling with coping with, let's say, slightly more difficult specs and maximizing them, because there isn't much maximization to do here. Like, you can push it a little bit further, but not by much. But in order to also bring massive amounts of utility. So if you're the kind of player who really enjoys being a useful member of your team, right, and bringing that little bit more to the group, but you're not great at tracking miniature cooldowns, watching procs, and then kind of manage them, and those kind of things, you want it to be a relatively simple spec. This is a really good option. So let's look at what it can do. We have a ranged interrupt, which you saw right there, is so magnificent. It's one of the big... I think we did a video recently on it about how infuriated I was in a... it was a Karazhan run, I remember. I think that video is on the channel. I can't quite remember. Where the ranged characters that had interrupt weren't interrupting casting enemies that were outside of what we call the death ball. And the death ball is the idyllic way that you want to AoE things. You want them all to be grouped together. That means that when I'm doing things like multi-shot or whatever, I could have barrage here as well. Barrage is still a thing. We could have all those things, yet they're not doing it. And what happens is this situation. You see how this guy is like hanging outside the group, but he's not a caster. And what ranged DPS can do is interrupt those casters like I just did on the first boss, and then bring that into the death ball, because if they're silenced or interrupted, they can't cast a spell. So they try and melee. That's what's happening. And I know this sounds like super dogshit basic to a lot of you, but it's something that clearly members of the community don't know, because they don't do it. They don't understand why it's so incredibly useful to have such functionality, and what a wonderful tool to have at your disposal it actually is. Oh, I've got Bestial Wrath up, but they're all hidden from me. No. Why? You'll also notice something else that we need to be drawing attention to. Look how much I'm moving. right? Won't be a surprise to many BM hunters, but there is zero reason to ever stop moving. Which means, again, if you're one of the guys who's not great at moving out of stuff, or in fact, it's more a case that I found recently is people trying to really maximize their damage, usually by following a guide that I've done or something like that, and they know that movement is a big loss of DPS, and there are ways around that. By trying to do that effectively, sometimes you get caught short and you die. That happens. Or you end up just not moving, you're taking a lot of extra damage, and your healers get pissy. Certainly if you're in a raid environment, they're like, why are you taking all this damage unnecessarily, dude? What the fuck, man? This shit's so easy to get out of. And it's like, yeah, but I was trying to maximize my DPS and stuff, right? I was trying to do all this shit, and that didn't help out at all. But you can see, I can do everything I want to do while on the move at all times, which is a staple advantage of BM at this point, I guess we could say. But it all makes perfect sense, right? Now, you will notice that sometimes keeping Thrill of the Hunt up can't be done. It is a 2-charge system. It can proc to activate more often, but it doesn't always. Interrupt that heal, yeah? Just providing that extra stability. So in BFA, we're going to have a combination of things that the Hunter naturally counters. The BM Hunter, well, Marksman does too, but BM Hunter has the obvious advantages of all this movement that you're seeing here. I'm going to save my Bestial Wrath for the boss that's coming up in a moment. Which is the mobility, being able to interrupt, being able to slow, yeah? Being able to AoE slow, throwing down traps, and of course, the big one being misdirect. Like, misdirect is such a big deal. Bestial Wrath up, let's pop our aspect, and let's go to town. So, I mean, there's no reason to move if you don't want to. We're going to go throw AoE here. Again, keeping that Thrill of the Hunt down to 1. That's unfortunate. And it's hard to stand still when you play BM because you have so much freedom to move around. You do have so much freedom just to kind of run around, chill out. And it does allow you to work on other things because you can also stun, of course, with your freezing trap. You've got other types of slows. You've got intimidation stuns. You've got so many things that you can utilize to make the run go better. And that's the important thing. You want to make the run go better. That should be your goal, always. Make the run go better, because it's better for you, right? It's one of the reasons I hate you tank it tanks who then, like, get pissy. They slow the group down even more, which is the likelihood a lot of people pulled for them. People who just complain and whinge while not contributing enough. Instead of saying, okay, my DPS with this class is like 4 buttons, and they're tied to a system that means I can't spam them anyway. Like, Barb Shot and stuff has a cooldown and a charge system. If I'm full, I could just press Cobra Shot. Oh, I've got to press Kill Command now. Okay. And the only thing I have to track is whether or not Kill Command, Bestial Wrath comes back. That's it. There's nothing else to it. Like, I should loot because you guys get triggered when I don't. For someone who's experienced with the game and certainly more than capable with handling what the other classes offer, which is going to be, you know, the guys who have no issue multi-dotting and doing things like that. You know, I can manage multi-dots on multiple targets and things like this. BM could sometimes be a welcome change, where you're like, I can just play BM for a bit. It's fine, right? It's fine. But long-term, probably not a fan of, because you're like, this is, like, once you get used to what you can do with it, it becomes a little boring. Like, I mean, for me, it's a very dull spec, because nothing particularly happens with it. You're just kind of, like, along for the ride. Is a description I've used a number of occasions. Again, putting misdirect up. You see how often I'm misdirecting here, and just trying to keep the pace of the dungeon going. We've got 1 second of Bestial Wrath, so I'm going to wait. Then we're going to Barb Shot to start the cooldown process all over again, because we've got another boss coming. There's another Barb Shot to get this critical strike rating up. You can see his Thrill of the Hunt wearing off, but we got it. 3 stacks. And with higher gear, you'll be able to maintain that far more. You'll be able to maintain that far more. And I know a lot of people expect me to shit on this. If I was being like a complete selfish arsehole, sure, like, I don't get these kind of specs. But for me, there's no reason, and I don't understand any reason that every spec has to be super complicated. Everyone's got a different skill level. So simpler specs I'm fine with. I really am fine with. They don't appeal to a lot of players. So it's not a case of everybody's forced to play a simpler spec. That's never the case. As long as they all do equal, people will gravitate to what they enjoy. if they can manage it easily. Like, for some people, doing mega multi-dotting or really a lot of proc management isn't very difficult. They're more than fine to do that all day, every day. For other people, that's not easy. And so that a simpler thing that they can kind of just not think about too much, right? And they can focus on other things. I often hear a lot of people, oh, our friend is playing BM as well. Those guys can focus on other things. Oh, I've got fire to move from. Well, that's fine. Most of my shit's on cooldown anyway. I'm not losing damage by doing this. Oh, we got 2 procs. Nice. Double Thrill of the Hunt. Very good. Yeah, sure, why not? We'll do another Bestial Wrath. It comes off cooldown quick enough.
Well, you certainly have a knack for destruction.
And what I would recommend if you do play specs like this is really focus on the tools you have. This thing is such a pain in the ass for this MS. It really is. I would utilize it. Don't be lazy. And that's can bug me, is don't be lazy. Focus on the things you can do, which are your slows, your interrupts, your stuns, dropping flares if you want to, right? Is there a place this is useful? Certainly misdirect is going to be such a large bonus to have in Battle for Azeroth if the threat changes to tank stays the same. That it's going to allow you, if you're somebody who's always looking for like a spec that's maybe going to get you easier into, excuse me, Mythic Plus or Raid Pugs and things like that. A lot of raid leaders are going to be like, we need some good misdirects in here. And I'll be honest with you, tanks notice a lot if they're getting misdirected regularly. They notice. Why are you coming over here, dude? Yeah. Whee! Let's go over here. Misdirect up. Let's misdirect these all to the tank. Right? That's what we're doing. And that helps the tank out, because the tank's got to be like, oh my god, someone pulled sometimes, right? And then he's got to like clean it up and all that. Whereas a good hunter that is doing misdirects almost on cooldown, as you can see what I'm doing here, I'm almost misdirecting when it comes back off cooldown. In fact, I wish I had more access to it, right? Got a slow trap down in case someone tries to steal it. Slow the mobs. Slow this one down. Yeah? All cool. You could throw down some stuns if you want to. Frost trap them. This is what you could do. All these options are here, and they're not really going to screw with your damage or anything, because your damage is naturally going to go pretty well. I've just noticed I haven't got Intimidation in the right place. There we go. Oh, you can't stun that. Oh, don't drop it inside the wall. Someone's got it. Good, 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 good. Good, good, good. And they're all stuck. Ah! No, don't do that, because it fucks up. You bastard. We need a mob to pick it up. I can't type. We need a guardian. Is there a guardian nearby? There's one. I wonder if I can aggro it. Nope. We need one to spawn. Spawn. He's just spawned. There you go. Come on, over here. There you go. Let's misdirect these. That's what we're after. I'm going to focus on this guy. Throw down a tar trap to make sure everything's nice and slow. And I'm telling you guys right now, doing this stuff is exactly what will get you noticed. Certainly if you're pugging, right? If you're pugging a lot and your tank's like, dude's misdirecting me like all the fucking time. And this has made my run so much easier. Get it. Come on now. Is it stuck in the wall again? No, he's got it. He's got it. Just click the fucking eye socket, dude. No, don't throw it again. What the fuck? Thank you. Nightmares. Nightmare time or what? Misdirects up. Send it all to the tank, man. And get this shit going. It increases the pace. You never know when your tanks are off cooldown. And I suppose it's a good time to point out that hunters are classically the best spec in the game to solo stuff. They really are, because you can obviously have a tank pet and have that pet tank for you. You can heal that pet in a lot of occasions. They're immune to a lot of stuff. And if you are one of these lone wolf type players, and you're looking for something, hunter. I would also point out here, I like marksman. A lot of people don't like it right now. I think it's fine. And also survival has had that revamp. So the hunter is like a package is in a really good place in BFA. It doesn't appear to be one of the specs that's kind of, let's just say, on the 8.1 list. So I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to pull this. He's going to start casting. Then I'm going to interrupt it. Well, I was going to, but apparently it's immune to interrupt now. Interesting. I saw an immune message then. All right, so I've done that quite a few times. It's a grounding totem. Is that what it was? Ah. This fight's changed since I was last here. Okay, I'm curious, because this is one of the fights that's not particularly popular, let's put it that way. It's the healing fight, so the whole point of this fight is the healer needs to heal this.
Is shattered, but the
Let's get coolies going.
Have awakened. Restore me.
I'm trying to restore you, but some barb shot procs would be really nice right now. Get over there. That leap looked ridiculous. Yeah, you still get the proc even if you do it. I'm gonna have to wait now for a couple of charges just to get a couple of barb shot procs. As far as I know, the only thing I can misdirect here is the Guardian. If I can spot that, I'll gladly do that. There should be a Guardian running around somewhere. There he is. See if I send that over to the tank. Yep. Rah! Go, go. So this will either appeal to you or not. Like, I can imagine a lot of people are looking at this and going, that is just like the worst spec ever. In a lot of ways, for experienced players or guys who are, like I say, really comfortable with managing reasonably complex stuff in the game with their characters, this is going to be a no-go. Like, unless you can see the advantages, which I know a lot of people can, of like being able to move all the time, is a significant advantage to the game. It really is. There's no underestimating it. It's a pretty awesome. You see that? I actually misdirected our tank there. It was attacking the healer and brought it over to the tank who was over here. So the enemy was over there attacking the healer. And so we misdirected it all the way back off and peeled it off that healer. And those are the things, like, it doesn't matter. I used to say this a lot in the guides. It doesn't matter if he notices it happens at all. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. It's not why we were doing it. It's not why we're doing this stuff. We're doing it because it's a good thing to do. And sure, your tank might not notice. Your healer might think the tank taunted it. You know, something like that. Don't matter. The group was far more successful because of what you could contribute to it. And you don't need to brag about it either. Like, there's a lot of people who brag about this shit. Like, do you like that misdirect? I'm just saying, like, you could walk away from your dungeon having a really successful, smooth time. It's very, very crazily simple. Like, I disagree to an extent that you can, because with this, you can kind of just mash every button and do like 85% of its potential output. I think that's kind of wrong. I think it's a little too simple. But there's always a place for simpler specs in the game. In my opinion, there is a place. There's a balance to be struck. I think this goes a little too far to one side, which might appeal to quite a lot of you. That's fine. For other people, you'll be like, this is just insane. Especially if it does the craziest damage in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Beast Mastery Hunter Battle for Azeroth coming very soon, like a month away now. Be good. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.